So hello everyone, this is the English session of presentation of the Doctoral School of Sciences Po. We are going to, I will make the presentation in English and the Q&A session will be in English too, but feel free, if you are not completely fluent or confident enough to ask your question in English, you can definitely ask them in French, and we will make sure that everyone will get it in the room. So I am Pierre-François, I'm the Dean of the Doctoral School, and I'm also a sociologist, directeur de recherche au CNRS. And we have several colleagues here who are there to answer your questions. So first, Mario Del Pero, who is a history professor here in Sciences Po, Dina Waked, law professor, Ettore Recchi, a sociologist also, professor of sociology here, and Guillaume Sarrat de Tramzeg, executive director of the Department of Economics, and so we are all here to answer your questions. And I also remind you that we are in the room 33 and 34 on the third floor to answer your questions if you have some. Okay, so basically what I would like to say about the doctoral school is that the doctoral school is a place where you get trained to research in social sciences. I will try to develop a little bit this point, but first we show you a short video to present it in a more, attractive way, if possible.
Si l'on devait résumer l'école doctorale à une ambition, ce serait de se placer au cœur de la création et de la diffusion des savoirs. Ici, nous formons des chercheurs et des experts à un savoir-faire, une compétence principale, la recherche.
All graduate students prepared to strive for the highest level of social science research will be at home with us, whether they come from Sciences Po, other universities, or even engineering and business schools.
Our teaching is dynamic, innovative, and multidisciplinary. Our programs are both challenging and comprehensive. Our faculty is known for its excellence, with 200 French and international academics and researchers.
Tournée vers l'international, l'école doctorale a noué des partenariats avec 470 universités dans le monde, dont Columbia et Northwestern University. Dans ce cadre, nous proposons de nombreux programmes d'échanges doctoraux, mais aussi des doubles diplômes.
In concrete terms, our programs are focused on 5 disciplines: law, economics, history, political science, and sociology. One of our defining features is that we offer both master's and PhD programs.
During my 2 years of master's program, I was taught about theory and methodology while actually gaining real research experience. As master students, and within 2 years, we get the chance to strengthen our methodological skills and gain deep understanding of the discipline. We also get the chance to delve into other disciplines so as to develop cross-cutting and multidisciplinary skills.
PhD students can rely on personalized support from their supervisor or supervisors and are fully integrated into one of the highly committed teams at our research centers.
À la sortie, nos diplômés disposent d'une multitude de débouchés dans la fonction publique nationale ou européenne, les organisations internationales, les médias ou la communication, le journalisme, l'édition, le monde associatif, les think tanks, l'enseignement et bien sûr la recherche.
Avec un seul et même objectif pour tous, créer et diffuser les connaissances de demain.
Sciences Po.
Okay then. So if I try first to give you some very basic stuff of the background of the École Doctorale, I think that this background is very much rooted in the history of the relationship between the development of social sciences and the development of Sciences Po. In a way, these two stories are very much intermingled, since in Sciences Po and social sciences actually were born roughly at the same time, the last third of the 19th century, and facing the same kind of issues, that is, societies were getting into trouble, and we should try to find ways to solve these troubles. But for more than a century, social sciences, who could have been at the core of Sciences Po, actually were not. I mean, this was not exactly the case. And over 20 years ago now, there's been a strategic choice made by Sciences Po to develop to put social sciences at the very core of the institutions. And it did it in several ways. First, it did it extending the perimeter, the disciplinary perimeter of Sciences Po. At first, the disciplines that were taught in Sciences Po were most of all history and a little bit of political science, but there was almost no sociology, and law and economics were taught by, I would say, civil servants and professionals, and not by law or economics professors. And about 20 years ago, we decided to develop a law department and an economics department, and it completely changed the way law and economics were taught in Sciences Po. And at the same time, the decisions was also made to develop sociological courses and also to improve the courses in political science and the courses in history, especially in the bachelor degree of Sciences Po. The second shift that was decided over 20 years ago was to try to link much closely, in a very close manner, the research that was produced in Sciences Po and the things that were taught in Sciences Po. And so basically what we do now is that you are taught in Sciences Po very broadly, not only in the doctoral school, but you are taught the kind of research of results that are produced by research in social sciences, including here, of course. And the third choice that was made, which is maybe the more general choice that was decided by the institution, was to transform Sciences Po in a research university. And all these changes put the doctoral school, which was always there, but which was a little bit lateral in the organization of Sciences Po, in a way, it put the doctoral school of Sciences Po much more at the center, at the core of the institution. And just to give you a small idea about that, is if you want to turn Sciences Po into a research university, then you should draw on the research community of Sciences Po. And the research community is first and foremost inside the doctoral school, because there are 350 PhD students in Sciences Po, and there are 200 faculty. And so it means that the core forces of research in Sciences Po are the PhD students. Okay, and so if you get into the doctoral school of Sciences Po, this is to be part of this general strategy and to be part of these forces to improve and to develop the research here in this institution. So on a more concrete level now, I will try to say a few words about the way the doctoral school is organized. Maybe the first thing to know is that the doctoral school is not just about PhD. Okay, I know that there might be some misunderstanding. I mean, I met several people since this morning who tell me, okay, well, I would like to know a lot of things about the doctoral school of Sciences Po, and they are extremely surprised when I start talking about the master. And so, yes, in the doctoral school, you've got research masters, okay, and so we give diplomas, master degree, okay, and you can start in the doctoral school of Sciences Po at the master level. You can decide to leave after completing your master or to stay in the doctoral school to complete a PhD. And you can also decide not to do your master in Sciences Po and to begin in the doctoral school of Sciences Po at the PhD level, okay? So what should be kept in mind is the fact that in Sciences Po, the doctoral school is the only school that provides both master degree and PhD and PhDs. So I will try to say to give some insights about first the master degree and then the PhD. So first about the master degrees. Our masters are organized on a disciplinary basis. There are 4 inside the doctoral school. There are 4 plus 1, I would say, master program. 1 in economics, 1 in history, both in French and in English now. There is also a master degree in sociology and en sociologie, both in French and in English. There is the research initiation program of the law school, and there is the Master of Political Science. Okay, so we decided to organize the master on a disciplinary basis and not, for example, based on an object, because we could have say, well, okay, let's develop an interdisciplinary master facing, for example, I don't know, financial regulation or migration issues. Okay, we decided not to do it. We decided to develop disciplinary masters because basically the job market is organized on a disciplinary basis. And if we want to improve your skills and to give you the opportunity to be in a cutting edge level on a disciplinary basis, then you should be trained in each and every discipline. And so this is the choice that we've made, and we stick to it. And we also know that the international institutions that are partners and competitors at the same time, I mean, they do exactly the same kind of things that we do. So they are organized along disciplinary lines. Second point I would like to stress about the master degree is the fact that we have a very classical and progressive curriculums. That is, in the first year, you have core courses, both thematic courses and methodological courses, and the idea is to give you the basis in the discipline. And in the second year, you have much more specialized courses, and the last semester, the fourth semester of the master, is dedicated to the production of the master thesis. And so the idea is definitely to give you the opportunity to be trained on a very hard basis. That is, we want you to work hard. We want you to be at the end of the process. We want you to be excellent researchers. We want you to have and to get all the tools that are necessary to produce cutting-edge research. And so if you get into a research master of the doctoral school, then you will be asked to work a lot and to work on different and difficult stuff, okay? So this is not an easy pass, okay? And I definitely assume that. But it is also true that in the masters of the doctoral school, there are in each discipline 20 to 25 students. And so this is one way to make a tailor-made progressive curriculum. And you are very, closely integrated into a very small group. And you can definitely find resources that completely fit with your intellectual projects. The third point I would like to stress about the masters is that even though they are organized on a disciplinary basis and therefore they are very autonomous, I mean, they share basic principles. The first principle here is pluralism. Okay, we have decided not to give you one and only one theoretical approach. For example, so if you come to the master in sociology, you will be trained, you will be facing, rational choice theory and also theory of Pierre Bourdieu. And at the end of the day, I mean, this is up to you. You choose. Okay, you decide. You make your decisions. You make up your mind, and you decide whether you would like to be a rational choice guy or more like a Bourdieusian critics, whatever guy. This is up to you. Our goal is not to enroll you in this or that theoretical direction. Our goal is to give you the tools to prepare you to make your own choices, okay? And this is true for theoretical matters, but also for empirical matters. I mean, actually, the way the different departments of Sciences Po are organized, I can say that we can supervise you in almost any topics you would like to work on. And it is also true, this pluralism is also true on the geographical matters. That is, if you are interested to work on France, Germany, UK, or the US, then it's possible. But if you are interested into working into, I don't know, Russia, China, India, this is also possible, okay? The second point about these shared principles is the importance of methods. okay? One can regret that, but the scientific competition is very much organized around, methodological requirements. And so we have decided to put a huge emphasis on the teaching of methods. And again, I mean, this is not just qualitative methods or only quantitative methods, but both, okay? And so in each and every master, you will be trained hardly on methods. Third shared principle, this is the idea that you will not be evaluated on very, classical academic grounds, that is, writing essays and classical stuff such as the one that you can do with the bachelor degree. What you will be evaluated based on exercises that look very much like your activity, your future activity as a researcher. Okay, so we will ask you to write papers, we will ask you to produce results based, for example, I don't know, in methodological courses, you will have to use the database and to produce some new results, and we will see how you have produced them and if they are robust or not. And we will also ask you to, you will be evaluated along research grounds because of the centrality of the master dissertation. Okay, the most important stuff in your evaluation at the end of these 2 years is the master thesis. You will be asked to produce. Okay, so what will you do after this? Well, basically, after a master, you can do two things. You can either go on a PhD, and I will talk about about that in a minute, or you can go into the job market. And in the job market, believe it or not, but you will find a job, okay? I know that most of the parents and some of the students are afraid of being unemployed after leaving the doctoral school of Sciences Po, which is not the case. So let me give you a few figures to prove that. First, the students who decide after the master degree to go into the job market are more than half, okay? Over 50% of the graduates from the doctoral school go to the job market, and they do not pursue in PhD. Over these 50 students, 2/3 find a job in less than 3 months, okay? So that is, you are graduated in June, and in September, you've got a job, okay? 60% of them work in the private sector, and 2/3 of them have a CDI, okay? So I don't know how you say it in English, a permanent job contract, okay? And the average gross salary is pretty good, 40,000 euros a year, and for some masters, it's much better, okay? So
we don't disclose which master.
Yeah, I have an educated guess, yes.
Is that for graduates of the master or of the PhD?
No, for the master. I will talk about the PhD later, okay? So basically what you should keep in mind is the fact that you will do pretty well in the job market if you decide to leave the Sciences Po after and not get into a PhD, okay? You will have a job, this job will be interesting, and you will get good salary, okay? And this is quite easy to understand why, because first you will be graduated from Sciences Po, and Sciences Po is a very valuable diploma in the job market, not only in France, but in Europe. And second, you will be able to handle data. Okay, so it means that leaving the master of the doctoral school, you will be able to deal with the database, to ask intelligent questions to the database. That is, you are not an engineer, you're a social scientist, and you can produce figures that make sense. And believe it or not, but at least in France, this is pretty rare. Okay, this is not very easy to find students who are able to do it. We have students who can handle numbers, engineers. We have students that can ask intelligent questions, social scientists. But students that can do both is pretty rare, okay? And definitely what you can do leaving the École Doctorale is doing this. I'll turn now in a few minutes for the PhD. First, where can you pursue in a PhD after leaving the École Doctorale? Well, actually, you can keep on working in Sciences Po, so you can be hired as a PhD student in Sciences Po. This is a possibility we give you, but you need to be good enough because there is a selection at the end of the master, so it's not automatic. You are selected, and second, you need to be funded. Okay, and so we help you. Sometimes we provide the funding. Sometimes you may find it helped by the academic community, of course, but you definitely need to be funded to make a PhD in Sciences Po. But you can also decide to do your PhD elsewhere. And here I want to underline the fact that this is our role, this is our duty to help you find a place to make your PhD elsewhere. Every year, the best master students in economics go to make their PhD in Chicago, in Yale, in Columbia, in Princeton, etc. And so the first 2, 3, 4 best students, they leave us. And I'm okay with that. I'm proud of that. Because I think this is definitely the kind of thing that we should do. If you get a chance as a master student to be hired to make a PhD in Harvard, then I should help you getting this opportunity. Okay? And this we do, actually. We write letters, we ask people advices, etc., to help you to get very good positions in very good graduate school elsewhere. The PhDs are done inside the research centers of Sciences Po. So as I said, all the PhDs are funded. That means that you should dedicate your activity to the PhD full time. Okay? So this is not a part-time activity. You should be completely devoted to the PhD, and you are integrated into collective groups, collective centers, which we call here the laboratoire, because this is, I don't know, research centers. And these research centers provide collective supervisions of doctoral students. That is, you will not be advised only by your supervisor. Of course, you will have a specific relation to your supervisor, but at the same time, you will get advices from many people inside the centers, and you will have many opportunities to discuss the kind of things you would like to develop in your PhD. Another important point is that making a PhD is not only writing 300, 400, 500, 600, 800, as they do in history, pages, okay?
1,000.
This is not the only thing that you should do. You should also be able to present your work in seminars, in workshops, in conferences. You should also write articles. You should also teach, and we give you the opportunity to teach, and we encourage you, we support you to teach. And also in a PhD, what you should do is trying to see and to go abroad, to have other experiences. And we encourage a lot the opportunities for you to, try to find some, to spend, 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, sometimes 1 year abroad in very good university. We have the opportunity to give you the chance to, make visiting in the best European or American universities. And so we advise you, we can fund you a little bit to help you to go abroad. And we very much encourage you to have this experience during your PhD. A last and final word about what's the output. So the output is first that we have actually very good PhDs here. They've got lots of awards at the end. And maybe more important than awards, jobs, okay? And let me say now a few words about the job market of the PhD students. we realized that over 60% of the doctors of Sciences Po work in the academia, okay? And this is a choice. This is not because they are compelled to do it, they choose to work in the academia, and 60% of them do, and 40% do this in tenured position, that is, in very good positions, okay? And they do it, and the 12% that are not in permanent positions, they are waiting to get permanent positions. But actually, the probability, the odds that they will get very good positions is pretty high, okay? And so I must say that these results are, in a way, really stunning concerning the fact that the job market, the academic job market is pretty difficult. And so we've got 60% of our PhD graduates who work in the academia, and so 40% work outside of the academia, where they do very, very, very well. 60% of them work in the private sector, and when they work in the private sector, most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they actually do research in their work, okay? And those who don't, they're happy with that, okay? We ask them, well, are you satisfied or not? And they say, yes, we are very, very, very satisfied. I mean, I don't do research, but it's good. There's no problem. And so the last point I wanted to stress about the job market of the doctors is that it is, for now, it is mostly a French labor market. That is, 60% of our doctors work in France, 20% work in Europe, and 20% work elsewhere. And this is something we would like to change, okay? Not because the French positions are not good. I mean, I think that they're pretty good. But the thing is that we want to enlarge the opportunities of our students. So this is basically what I wanted to say, and now I open the floor to the Q&A moments. We have roughly, 15 minutes, and then we will have the opportunity to pursue a discussion in room 33 and 34. So please. And again, feel free to ask your question in French if you're more comfortable with that. Pardon?
Any requirements for the master? I mean, like curricular requirements which are needed? For history in particular, but all the
For
others.
history?
For history in particular.
Yeah, okay.
No, there are no specific requirements. You submit a dossier which will be evaluated by us, and eventually you are called to an interview. My suggestion, of course, in the dossier is to emphasize and explain the motivation behind your application. It sounds banal. It is not. We look for people who have a passion in history, who motivate their application clearly, and who demonstrate to know what expects them. So that's the only indications I can give. And we are very open, Dean Francois was explaining it, we're very open to non-French foreign applicants, because one of the objectives we are pursuing is to diversify the cohort of students in the belief that diversity and pluralism enrich us as an institution as well.
Maybe I will ask just a few points, maybe especially, even though it's in English, but this is dedicated to the French students, which are not very familiar with this kind of process. You should understand the fact that there are two in your dossier. You've got two kinds of informations. There are academic grades, okay, and so we want to have good students, and so we give lots of attentions on your grades, okay? But once you've reached a minimum requirement level, which is pretty high, okay? But there are many applications, And so we've got lots of very good applications. Great. Once we have them, then we read the motivation letter. And the motivation letter is a letter where you should present yourself. And presenting yourself to get into the doctoral school, this is not telling stuff about, I love sport, I'm nice with old people, and I do babysitting, okay? I don't care at all, okay? I shouldn't say that, but I really don't give a shit about that. My point is, I want to know who you are and what you want to do intellectually, okay? And so this is really, really, really crucial, and it can really make a difference, okay? If we just have, nice students, well, okay, is good, is nice, is okay, fine, not very interested. But if we have the same kind of level with an intellectual project, which is very explicit, then we might be much, much more interested in this student, okay? And again, you should keep in mind the fact that we are looking for diversity, okay? We do not want to have all the students of the doctoral schools to be the same, okay? Again, I know that this is very much counterintuitive in France, where with the system of concours, we always, we hire the first, and then the second, and the third, etc., etc. And the third one is a pale copy of the first one. But here, this is completely different. Here, we define a cutoff, and above this cutoff, we want diversity. Okay, and so there's been several students who came to me since this morning, and they say, well, okay, I'm coming from an engineer school, or I don't know, I'm a dentist, and would it be interesting? And I say, well, I don't know, but maybe. And it seems to me that we hired a dentist in the low PhD program last year. Is that correct? Yes. Yeah. So this was a weird decision, but anyway, we did it actually. Yeah. And so yeah, definitely you should. This is the kind of balance between academic excellence and then your intellectual project.
Sorry, I have to take the word again, but actually I have two questions. The one would connect to this. To what extent would you expect for an application for master to already have an idea of where the research interests do? Shall we talk about the topic or a direction or something? And the second question is, to what extent does not being a French native speaker, even in my case, I do understand French, to what extent does that affect doing research in France, or doing a master or a PhD in France?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So as for the kind of precisions that you should be able to provide in your dossier about the kind of stuff that you would like to develop, and well, it's completely different if you apply for a PhD or for a master. For a master, and I will stick to this, we want students who are curious and intellectually already a little bit structured, okay? We do not expect students to have, you will get the opportunity to contradict me if I'm wrong, but I don't see the application in master saying, well, okay, I really want to work on this, and I won't change, and this is what I will do. What I really love in applications is a guy who come and say, well, okay, I could be interested in working on this, I don't know, history of environment, and history of finance, and history of gender discrimination. And on each and every topic, they can say very intelligent stuff. Fine, I love that. And then I really love if after 4 months or 6 months in Sciences Po, the same student comes to me and say, well, finally, I've decided to work on migration. Great. That's wonderful. Okay. So this was about the kind of topic requirements. The second question was about? Yeah, sure. You can I just... The language, yeah, the language. Okay, yeah.
So I'm kind of diffident myself of students with just a 3-year BA who come with very super clear, well-defined ideas about what they want to do, the topic on which they want to work. The Master in History, it's a Master of Research. We aim at training researchers. To do so, we provide an introduction to historiographies, plural, a vast spectrum of historiographical discussions, and we try to provide some, basic methodological toolbox. That's what we do. And what I really like about students of our master is how they evolve and change during the first year of the master. We are a bit rhetorical here. We're trying to pitch our masters to sell what we do. But if you allow me to be a bit rhetorical, what I really like about students in our master, in the Master in History, is how they evolve, change, and often blossom during the first year. Because for them, it's a process of discovery. Discovering, historiographies they were unaware of, discovering topics of research, issues they had not a clue about. And that's what we try to offer and do. So don't be afraid to come to our master with just a vague passion. The passion must be there. And then we will try to help you to focus that passion in a given direction.
Maybe you can say a word about the language requirements, and I will ask all the questions to all the DD.
So for the doctoral level or master level? Both. So actually doctoral level, we are in the process of revising a bit how do we present the program and the selection criteria, and the only language requirement will be in English, not in French. So, at the master level, we are setting up an English track in the M1. So during the first year of master, if you don't speak French, you will be able, nevertheless, to do all the requirements by following classes in English. This English track is somehow functional to a project which will start next year of a double master with King's College in London, a master in global history, global/international history, in which the first year will be here in Paris, the second year in London, and then you will get a double degree, one from Sciences Po, one from King's. So at the end of the day, we are moving toward, I think, a bilingual offer. And then I'll stop here because I don't want to take too much time. But that's also, I think, the future, if not the identity of this institution, to be bilingual. So much so that in my classes I co-teach sometimes with colleagues, we speak in English or French. And the discussion goes in one language or the other, depending on how it goes. And to me, that's almost the ideal situation, to switch from one language to the other freely. Sorry.
Gina?
So maybe to say something about the law school. So at the law school, it's the structure is a little different because the law school is a professional law school where master students enter into a professional law degree that is equivalent to an American JD program where you do 2 years at Sciences Po and you get access to become a lawyer, to become a judge, to sit for other different concours in France and internationally. And then through a small program that you do during the program that Pierre talked about, the Programme Destination à la Recherche, it initiates you to research. It's a group of 20, 30 students that do a research topic during their master years. Alongside the professional law school that then you become a lawyer or something else. But then I'm here wearing the hat of the PhD program. So that's part of the doctoral school, and that's the research part of the law school. And for that, you need to answer the question about precision of topic, a very precise topic to enter. So at that level, you can enter into the PhD program without having a prior law degree. You might, in most cases, a prior law degree is present with the different candidates. And then you need a very precise topic and upon that topic, admission is granted into the program. So that's the research track of the law school that doesn't require you to have done the master's at Sciences Po at all. So most of our candidates are actually coming from an international batch of students that have done their undergraduate, their postgraduate somewhere else. They all have a master level, but that master's does not necessarily need to be in law. And therefore, the emphasis is on the topic that you're applying with, and that just to contrast the application process. Now, for the language, I would say the same. It's a perfectly bilingual program. You enter the program, again, in your letter of recommendation, letter of motivation, you write in whatever language you choose, and the same would be carried further at the law school in the seminars and in the workshops.
Yes, the sociology program, master program, is bilingual. This is the first year in which it is bilingual. And bilingual means that students are entitled to use either English or French in any communication in class, papers they write, exams they sit. But to help students from abroad accommodate and make their way through French, the first semester is entirely taught in English. With expectations that even non-French speaking, so even entirely or fully non-French speaking students can apply, provided they commit themselves to engage into learning French actively, and the only requirement at the end is that they sit at least 2 exams in French to demonstrate that they master French decently in a professional way. As for the topics, I can only bolster what my historian colleague Mario said. I'm wary of students who come with a very precise research project, because that means that they're not open to take advantage of what the master's gives to them. And it is our concern, especially the first semester, to expose students to the largest possible palette of potential supervisors who come to class. We have a special class for these, who come to class and present their work and illustrate the kind of research they practice, so as to inspire, to be inspirational to possible topic, research questions, methods that can be applied in the memoir that each and every student is expected to carry out at the end of the 2 years.
As far as the economics is concerned, the first thing is that the globality of the program is taught in English, to begin with the language question. The master program is 100% taught in English. The PhD program is 100% taught in English. And the everyday life at the department, which is discussion with colleagues, seminars, events, and the like, are all 100% in English. To give you a concrete example, over the 4 new professors that joined us at the department this year, 3 of them don't speak one single word of French. So giving you an idea of the ability to integrate foreigners and non-French speaking professors. About the topic, I 100% agree with what has been said. We don't like applications for Master Year 1 with a precise, absolute idea of what applicants would do. And giving you once again a concrete example, an application where it is said, I want to do development economics and that's all, it's busted. Because, well, one, the subject is crowded, overcrowded. There's a seasonality, let's say, of topics, and usually when students begin working on this in the end, that actually tell us, well, I may have a better idea, which is migration economics, which is, and so forth. At PhD level, it's absolutely mandatory to know exactly what you want to do. At master level, please, ideally, well, change your mind over time. It's a sign of intelligence.
So I'm afraid we'll have to leave the room because there will be a riot outside if we do not. Thank you very much. We'll meet, for those who are interested, we are in room 33 and 34, so we can go on with this discussion. See you.
Thank you.